Recording. Okay, so welcome back. Happy Monday, week 9 of the 90-day game plan. Thanks for showing up for yourself, for your team. The topic of tonight is kind of twofold. One is, here we are, a little more than halfway through the 90-day game plan, and just wanted to take a little bit of time out to just kind of hover above our experience here. And I'm going to refer to Rod Hairston's book, Are You Up for the Challenge? So this book is the, if you like, well, it's a description of his whole healthy mind and body program, not specific to isogenics, but this explains he calls them the natural laws of how we operate in the universe. So we're going to talk a little bit about where we might be, and then also some tools that can help support you through the rest of the 90-day game plan. So I really want to just, first of all, just stop and acknowledge, for everybody, just reflect on where you started in this 90-day game plan, what your goals were, what your goals continue to be, and really acknowledge what you have accomplished, the number of people that you've shared the story with, number of people that you've added to the Live to Thrive team page or haven't added there, just planting seeds with people. All of those things matter. And I want to remind us that the reason that we started this group was to really help support each other to not only start the 90-day game plan, but to end it and to really support each other in that process. So I'm going to be referring a little bit to Rod Hairston's, his steps of change. And when we started, we were in the inception phase. Who's done the Healthy Mind and Body program? So all this language is familiar. Okay, so it says the inception phase is that part of the cycle of performance in which you select a goal and start working toward it confidently. This phase is often marked with excitement and high energy. And in the inception phase, everything seems possible because your unconscious mind has not yet started its rebellion. Real life circumstances haven't gone wrong, and you don't have any resistance to battle. But you have to eventually emerge from inception in order to be successful. Everybody remember when we started, most of us were at celebration, flying high. So that's what we're talking about. It's what got us to, commit to joining this Prosperity Project 90. Okay, so now the next phase, as we're familiar with, is called deception. It's the part of you that wants to give up. So if you become serious about something, you will eventually encounter barriers and frustration. That's the deception phase, in which you start wondering if all this is really worth it. So no matter what change you want to make, your habits are going to fight back. Your unconscious mind is not going to make it easy for you to change. That's good, because you have to have challenges in order to change. That's what builds character. So then it goes on to say, what would life be like without resistance? I mean, I think we can all look back on our lives and think of the things that we've accomplished, that we've pushed through, and we grew as a result of it. So. It talks about the excuses that come up, with the mind saying, hey, if you keep up these healthy habits, you're going to change, and I don't want you to change. So it's the unconscious mind at work. And but our goal is to get to the other side of deception, to transformation. And Is anybody feeling like they're in that deception phase right now? I know I am. It's like I'm feeling it. I'm feeling the burn, like really. But this is so let's just see a show of hands who's feeling it. Not everybody might be. Okay, beautiful. All right, so at least half of us anyway. So so it's like you can overcome this deception, it's like going to the gym and lifting weights, because consciously that being sore is normal and expected. You can work through the temporary pain of lifting weights. But when deception whispers in your ear, it would be so nice to stop, you ignore that temptation and you keep going. So that's really easy to relate to that gym analogy, I think, for most of us. But here it is. It's our business. It's this commitment that we made to ourselves. Physical strength isn't the only arena in which this approach applies. It's the same way emotionally. And it's the same way mentally. If you know something is good for you and it becomes uncomfortable, don't stop. Put your tail between your legs and run away. So we have to fight through the deception, and most people quit when they hit deception. And so remember when we first started, we said if we just never quite make that 90-day, this is what we're talking about. So we're here to support each other in being real, right? To just be honest with ourselves, honest with each other, and to grab each other's hand to lift each other up so that we can get to the transformation, because that's where all the fun, excitement, success is in the transformation. So I'm just going to pause right now and just open it up for just a little bit of conversation. And then I have some leaders who are going to offer some suggestions for how we might support each other in creating some accountability and lifting each other up through this phase of the change process. So who else has some other thoughts or musings or real life examples of what's going on for you that will help support this team? Or what have you done? What are you noticing? Okay.
Can I say something?
Thank you, Damon.
For me, the thing that I love about the healthy mind and body, even though, we can apply it to our business and kind of along with what you were saying with deception phase. A year ago, I probably wouldn't even know I was in the deception phase, or maybe a little past before a year ago. But now I realize that, and I'm able to identify it and push through it.
Right.
And I think that's the biggest takeaway for me right now, is that I can admit, yes, I'm in a deception phase right now, but I'm able to pick up and push past that because I first am aware of it. And secondly, I have the tools and I know what to do to get past that. And so I think this is a great call, because setting up accountability is what is helping me push through that phase where it's long after it's exciting, the rah-rah stage is past for a lot of us. And so for me, it's just been I've really been able to apply that healthy mind and body to my business as well. Just pushing past that, but I think acknowledging it is that first step. So I just love what you shared, Brenda.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Hi, Brenda. This is Rod. I offer an observation.
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to say that for me, what I've learned in this first 90 days, 9 weeks, is that momentum for me is something that will trump deception. That as long as I'm engaged in doing the do, and continuing to move through opportunities, deception doesn't stand a chance. What I've also learned is that there's a fear of falling out of momentum. I have felt like, gosh, if I don't continue to have that momentum, I might drop off the edge. So there's a little bit of deception as well.
Yeah. So yours is a little double-edged sword there. Uh-huh.
This is Ruth. And I have something I just wanted to share. Is that okay?
Hi, Ruth.
Yeah.
Please.
I guess what happened to me this week, it's just like I have a lot of people on my list that I need to contact, and it's just like my schedule's been really crowded, and I just took and I knew I needed to be doing more calls, and I was like, well, I have to do this, so I just like put in time to do it, even though it's easy to crowd it out or, put it out, tomorrow or tomorrow. And, I made 3 calls and made 2 appointments. And yes, I do need to be making more calls, but it just was encouraging me just to do it, even though it doesn't always feel comfortable, or it's not always, just to find those pockets like we talk about, when we hear about, and just do it.
That's great, Ruth. So what was it that, even though you felt the resistance, what was your inner talk that made you pick up the phone anyway? What was going on for you that you pushed through that?
Well, I know I need to do it. And it's like, like if successful people have to do things even when if I want success, I have to do the work. I have to do the actions for do actions that are going to be able to bring in new people, and I've got to do the action. So I just was telling myself I've got to do the action, even though I don't feel comfortable or I don't have a lot of time. I'm just going to do what I can do in those few minutes of time to do.
Mm-hmm. That great self-coaching, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I listened to a lot of good coaches so on these calls, and Christy as well. She's amazing.
Yeah, that's great too. I think it is that. I've heard, but the people I work with, they'll hear me talk about the inner critic on one shoulder and the cheerleader on the other, and it's like, who's got the loudest voice, and so it's like give the cheerleader, the one that's focused on that goal, the bigger voice, but to really notice the difference between the two. So
yeah, that's right. Good.
Yeah, thank you for sharing, Ruth. Anybody else have anything? Yes.
So I'll say something really quick. So it's not necessarily like the most brilliant tip to share, but I found for me the phone calls also seem to be the trickiest, and I can't quite figure out why. But I've gotten to where I literally will dial the number and just close my eyes and hit send, and then because once I've dialed it, I'm in, and then I can usually get myself through it. But I just hit go, and then I just wade my way through the call, and it seems to work okay. When in the moment when you have to say something, it comes to you. So what that's worth, if you have to just hold your breath, hit send, and just get the conversation going, it usually will, find its way. So
yeah, that's really true. I've been there many, many, many times. That's really great.
I want to thank Karen for that, because I'm the biggest scaredy cat. And I call it hiding behind the Facebook page. I mean, anything to hide. And Karen, I think it's because I don't want somebody to personally turn me down. They can always say no on Facebook, and I go, oh, no problem. Personal, I don't want that. So, but Karen, I want you to know that I have set that as one of my goals. I'd love to, you and I, to work together on accountability on voice calling, because Brenda, tell them how you stand up and cheer before you make a call. You do
I do my power pose, my warrior pose, and I stand up because I want my energy to be strong. And but that whole thing about just push the button, it's I mean, I did that when I called Rod. Just push the button. So, all right, let's spend the next little while. The leaders, we had this sort of pre-conversation on Friday about what did we want to bring to the team today, and we started brainstorming the kinds of things that we have used for accountability. And so the leaders are prepared to share some of those ideas with the goal of people leaving this call with a commitment or a plan to create an accountability partner. So, that's somebody that you can buddy up with and just, help each other close your eyes and hit the send button or whatever it takes, right? So let me just open it up to some of the leaders who are ready to share, and then we can get into sort of action steps around that. So, Cynthia.
I'll share first because I don't have a lot to say, but I absolutely asked for help with accountability. Middle of the 90-day change, and I could feel the energy slow down or in my own heart, in the folks that I play with. And I just said, help me with an accountability system. And I have been using that Commit to 3 software on our phones. And I was kind of like the only one that was in there. I was talking to myself. And at first it felt okay because I was at least being accountable to myself. But I really wanted to have accountability partners. I wanted other people to say, yeah, we'll accept the call. We'll do a call once a week, and we'll just, I heard Rod say, do the 3 times 3 times 3. And so I asked one group to join me, and another group asked me to join them. So now I have 2 groups that I get to talk to 2 gals in each group once a week. That's half an hour each. It doesn't have to be too long. And just enough to say, are we reaching out 3 times? Are we supporting 3 times? And are we following up 3 times and supporting 3 times? Here's another thing. Where did our friend go? Ruth. Where did Ruth go? Ruth, I hide behind the support because then I don't have to reach out so much if I hide behind support. So when I do a 3 times 3 times 3, I am committing to reaching out 3 times a week. And I want to be held accountable.
So Cynthia, I would like Brenda to explain the 3 by 3 by 3. So before we go to anybody else, would that be okay?
Sure.
That's new to a lot of people.
Okay, so you'll hear from the stage, you'll hear some of the leaders talk about 3 by 3 by 3. And some of those resources that we were talking about, planners that are specific, that have been designed by Isagenix people, it will be 3 new contacts a day, 3 follow-ups a day, and 3 acknowledgments and or support, sort of reaching down and supporting team people in your team. So it's just a structure. It's gets you into those income producing activities, which is the reach outs, it's the connecting. And then of course there's the support. So that those are, or the follow-up for people who are still in the decision-making process. And so it just keeps moving all of that along. And then, of course, then you're reaching and supporting the people who are already in your team. So that's just one way one way that you can structure how to do your business, how to keep it moving forward. So, and people can do 2 by 2 by 2, 1 by 1 by 1. It doesn't, if you're doing this on a very part-time basis or whatever, it's like it's all dependent upon what your goals are. The level of activity is determined by how big a stretch your goal is. So, all right, who's got something else to share or expand on that?
Well, I'll jump into the accountability partner piece. That's been extremely effective for me this time around. And I've had the same goal in the 90-day game plan for this is, I think, my 4th 90-day game plan that I've had the same goal. And I have gotten to this point 9 weeks in or before, and it's just fizzled. So I'm really feeling really grateful that Rod and I are going for a similar goal. And so I had reached out to him this summer, and then he reached back out to me in August to say, hey, could we be accountability partners for this 90-day game plan? And there's not a structure to how we're doing it. We kind of said, let's at least check in on the phone. So we're actually talking in person once a week. And then depending on if he's in Puerto Vallarta or I'm on vacation in Langley, those two different spectrums of vacation, we might just have to Facebook message each other, but we're letting each other know, what kind of a week did you have? So usually Sunday night, we've had kind of a recap of our week that we share with each other. But the other thing that happens is, so this is my home phone, right? It can feel like 1,000 pounds sometimes. So when Karen was talking about, like this, what I did about a week and a half ago is I reached out to Rod, and I think it was at a time when I didn't know if he was at work. I couldn't remember if we were in Puerto Vallarta or what, I don't remember. But I just said, I need some accountability. In the next hour, I want to make 10 calls. Please send me a message at 2:30 and see if I did it. And even if he wouldn't have sent the message back, but he did because he's my accountability partner. He's really good. It forced me to have a different voice in my head. And guess whose voice it was? Rod's. And it was a nice voice. It wasn't this deception, this defeating voice of deception. It was this cheerleader that I could hear in my head. And I ended up making more than 10 calls. And one of those people I called, who I haven't talked to in about 3 or 4 months, ended up coming to the Super Saturday. And it's now he's just trying to get the finances together to get started. So that's been really great. And the other thing I just want to say about accountability, that kind of after that 10 calls, I realized I had no plan about how I'd make those calls. And I realized I needed to go back to my tracking system for accountability to myself, for following up with people. So I just want to remind people that Eric Worre has an amazing free download at networkmarketingpro.com. And it's the free download of the memory jogger. Now it's going to just help you come up with names. But what I really want to say is his sheets that are in there, and he has several different titles on them. But I just made 10 copies of this today. It's called Master Candidate List, because now I can just list all the names of people. One's going to be for phone calls. One's going to be for Facebook reach outs. And there are several categories. I don't necessarily think I'll use them all, but it is a way that I'm going to track who I'm having my 3x3s with now. So I'll have one that's maybe all those new contacts, and then another list I'm making just for follow-up. So create systems that are going to hold you accountable, that are systems that work for you too. Because let me tell you, I've got Post-it notes, I've got little this, that, and everything. And so just getting organized by putting it in one place and 3-hole punching it is going to be one accountability piece. So, and accountability partner stuff, Rod, anything else you want to add?
I'd love to just add the reciprocal of that. And yeah, I was sipping margaritas when I was remembering to make that phone call. But and it was great. But I'll give you another example. In addition to what have we done and what do we hope to do, I think Christy and I have found a way to lean on each other a little bit and to inspire. I know I was on my way to where I was about to give a speech about 3 weeks ago. And Christy had given me a podcast that she recommended. And on the way to the speech, I was driving an hour, and it was about a 45-minute podcast. I heard this part about stepping out of your comfort zone. And I called her immediately and said, can you take my call? I want to tell these people something that they don't expect. And she encouraged me to do so. We figured out a way. And as a result, at the end of that speech, which was really just a marketing speech that I was given on behalf of an association I'm in, I ended up with about 24 business cards. I've already enrolled one of those members. I've had about 5 of them been added into Live to Thrive now. And for that, I give Christy a lot of thanks and for holding me accountable to like, okay, I told her I was going to get up there and do this. Now I have to do it.
Awesome.
That was powerful. And I have to say, that morning call as you were driving And you, first of all, that you said, oh, I'm listening to this podcast. I'm like, yay, it was a great podcast. But then that he took it and it really inspired him. Thank you. I mean, that's the kind of power when you have somebody that you get to cheer along with. And when we're going for similar goals, that's part of it. But it's also, I think, Brenda, you said it well, there's a good personality match there too. I mean, I told Rod, I guess she's right. I guess you and I could sell ice to an Eskimo.
Well, at least tell our story to an Eskimo.
All right, thank you. So who else has got an accountability system that they're working with or considering working with?
Well, I can share a little bit about what I've been doing that's been pretty effective. When I got back from Celebration, we kind of created a couple of different groups on Zoom. And so it was basically, the only reason I have a couple groups is because not everybody could come to the one. And so we just kind of made an accountability call once a week. It's maybe, depending on, my one call is a half an hour because it's during lunch breaks of people. My other call has a few more people on it, but it doesn't go more than an hour. And we just get together every week. We state what our goals will be that week. Maybe a rank advancement goal, maybe a cycle goal, how many people we want to talk to in that week. So we declare a number of people that we would like to share the Isogenic story with. And then we also just cheer each other on. So we kind of get together and just kind of talk about what our goals will be. And then at the end, before we leave, each person lists something that they're proud of, that they've done in their business for the week. So we leave on a positive note, because if we remember what we focus on, we find. So if we are really grateful of something that we're super proud of that we've done, whether it's picking up that 1,000-pound phone or talking to somebody we haven't talked to in a while, or we've reached out to, more than our number. It can be anything, something even really small, but we leave on a positive note. And then usually each one of us just go around and kind of share, kind of what we're proud of that person for doing. It's really been more than just accountability. I mean, we've gotten to know each other in a new way. We kind of just cheer each other on, and it's been great. And I would recommend it. It's great to do the Zoom, people all over the country in a call that you get to see their faces. It's more personable. Mm-hmm. And we've just made a way to make it happen. And I've seen incredible growth through not only myself, but other team members. So, and you could just pick a partner. You could even just do it with one person and do a Zoom call. It doesn't have to be, a bunch of people, but it's been really effective for us.
Wonderful. Yeah, Zoom's such a beautiful technology. And what I love also about what you said is, I just want to encourage all of you to, use Zoom with your teams, because it helps you step up into leadership and to initiate that and to lead a call and to, it's just a natural step in your growth cycle. So thank you, Jamin. So the other tool, I know we've talked about this on team calls, but I want to assume anybody's heard of it, is about this Commit to 3 app. I've used it with Rod and Dwayne and Tom at different times. And so it's an app that you can actually, like the night before, you can write out who you're going to call or what you're going to do, what income producing activities you're going to do, and then you tick them off when they're done, and that information goes to the team members that you're actually sharing that app with. You can create different teams on that app. So I'll tell you, I found that to be very effective, because there's a sense of accountability, like, okay, I can't end my day until I have completed this. So there's just that's where you just move through that deception. It's like, okay, I've made that commitment to myself, but when you make it to somebody else, it just gives you that extra edge where you're not leaning into your excuses, but with the resistance. So what other ideas do people have? Anything else?
And on that one that you just talked about, whether it's on a note card or in the app or on a piece of paper, I think one thing I've learned using the commit to 3 process is if I declare what I'm going to do, like you said, at night, I'm sleeping on it all night. It's one of the last things I think about before I fall asleep is the 3 things that I'm going to do. And sometimes the 3 things is 9 things, like make 3 new contacts, follow up on 3 new people. And so as a result, it's the first thing I think of when I wake up in the morning. For a while, I was trying to set my commitments in the morning, and I'm too busy to do that in the morning. So just a good idea, I think, is to do it like you said, right before you fall asleep.
Great. That's a great suggestion. Feeding the subconscious mind. Perfect. Okay. So who is up for grabbing an accountability partner? Okay. Stacy, I know you're trying to say something, but you're on mute. Maybe you want to be.
I have Cynthia.
Okay, great. All right. So grab somebody in this group. You don't even have to be financially connected. Just pick somebody who you like to get to know better. You think would be a really good match for you, someone, and then create some agreements with each other about how you can really, again, lift each other up, because that's what this whole process is about. So does everybody feel like you could do that, to reach out to somebody here? Okay, yeah. You all know how to find each other, right? So let's talk about what's on the other side of the transformation, okay? Because okay, so it's just, this phase is all about persevering, especially if you don't feel like it. It's also where you start seeing results. So this is where that success happens. So all right. So when you are in transformation, it's very important that you keep going and stay focused. Transformation is only a temporary haven. You can only stay for a little while. You have to keep doing what's working if you want that to be your future. So you have to move forward, or else you'll fall back into deception. You have to just move through to get to that transformation. So I guess, everything you want is on the other side. So, okay. Jamin, I really like your idea about saying something that, that we're proud of. So we have like 1 minute. Can everybody just share, a few words, just a phrase, a sentence, just something that you're proud of? Just do a real quick, so we can end on a really positive note. Just think about your last week, your last weekend, last day, and what you're proud of.
I'm really proud of having broken through into the money round of the $1 Million Challenge.
Oh,
Got 112 points as of this morning.
Wonderful.
Fantastic. Awesome.
I'm proud of having an amazing conversation with a young couple whose eyes were just lit up the whole time I was sharing with them about the compensation plan.
Beautiful.
I'm excited. I got my second box of vitamins and 2 new enrollees this week.
Fabulous. I'm using our launch parties and the invite button, and I'm finding people who are interested that I had no idea. No idea they were interested, and they're saying they're interested. They're typing a little answer to me. Oh, I'm so happy.
Beautiful. We'll have you share that on a call.
I'd love to.
Doing.
We're proud of our Skinny Macaroni show that we do every Sunday night, because we're getting a lot of people watching and asking us about what we're doing and how we're doing it. So it's been just a fun little project to, generate more interest in isogenics.
Beautiful.
Good for you.
Hi, this is Nelsonia, and today I was having a medical procedure done, an X-ray, and I talked to the imaging person, and she was just really interested. And so I have my phone with me, and I gave it to her. I said, can you find your name on my Facebook so I can invite you? So we did that. Unfortunately, my phone was working, but I didn't understand that because I kept checking the send friend request or add friend. It wasn't working, but I guess her privacy settings were so high that it wasn't allowing her to friend me or me to friend her. So I'll have to work on that a little bit. But I took the courage and I asked her, and she was really interested. It was an easy conversation. So I just need to start talking, and then it's easy after I start talking. So.
Beautiful.
And I also learned I should have gotten her phone number. So I know that for next time, because now I have to call her back at the clinic to say, hey, couldn't add you, send a friend request, but can you friend me?
All practicing, constantly practicing. Anybody else?
I'm proud of the fact that for me, the friendships that are starting, a person that I connected with that I have not spoken with for probably 5 years, and that is interested, and it's fun to see for me, all of the relationships being built. I feel like I'm farming right now, planting, but that's for me probably one of the best parts of this whole thing.
Yes.
I'm actually really proud of myself for doing, I chatted with an associate who wasn't going to be able to order because it was so expensive, and she knows the business model, but I was really able to paint her a bigger picture this weekend with just our Project 1000 and really able to convey it. And she said, oh my goodness, I'm so excited. I'm going to dedicate today to really taking this to the next level. So I'm really excited about that.
Beautiful. Anybody else? Well, I'll just say that what I'm proud of is launching a new associate in the same way, Jamin, who had, there's a lot of people struggling financially out there, and was able to paint the big picture, and she's embracing the income opportunity as well. So it's very satisfying, very exciting. All right. Anything else anybody wants to contribute? All right. So everybody go take your break. Thank you for showing up for yourself, for your teams, and have a really fantastic week. And I think we'll have a great Live to Thrive team call coming up. So take your break and take a pause, and see you on the next call.
Thank you.
You guys. Mwah. Bye.
Bye, everybody.